welcome to our podcast. We have no idea what we're going to call this yet, but welcome. We're hoping that you're going to come up with a name along with us because this is all about Lee County. My better partner over here, the brains of the operation, Kim, is going to be part of like our. I don't know how often we're going to do this.
Could be monthly, could be weekly.
It could be never again.
This may be a one and done episode.
So what we're trying to accomplish here is to enlighten those that live here, along with those that want to vacation or live here, what Lee County, Southwest Florida has to offer. But how did we get here? That's the interesting dynamic.
Yes, that is the big question. My name is Kim Stemple, since you didn't say my name.
I said Kim.
Kim.
It's Kim A.
Real estate, that has been in my blood since I was a baby. My father was a broker in Massachusetts. He was also a commercial contractor. So it's kind of all I really know is real estate and construction. So when I moved down here, my brother and I had a commercial construction company, worked together for a few years, realized family can't work together, and got into the real estate career. But prior to that, we had always been into flipping homes and remodeling and buying and selling. So it just naturally led into my real estate career, which started in 2011. And I met Michael in 2012.
Yeah, and I have no real estate background. I grew up in a public safety family, which kind of led us to where we're at now. I did nearly 20 years in law enforcement, and 17 years of those were here in Lee County. So Kim's husband is actually in law enforcement as well. So when we formed Blue Line Realty as the broker owners, it was the perfect merger to incorporate the law enforcement side along with real estate. So it was kind of like a aha moment for both of us. But yeah, we started in 2012, or 2011, 2012, instantly had a great working chemistry, working relationship. And she says that you can't work with family, but the reality is she is
pretty much family.
Yeah,
here.
We are family. And we work really well. Sometimes it's interesting.
We do go off on tangents quite often, and
Daily.
then we have to bring us back in. But that's our creative theory. We like to have roundtable sessions. We like to sit down and just have normal conversations of, where we're trying to go or what we're trying to do, or just brainstorm on something that we can't figure out. And we also call upon other brokerages as well to do that.
Right.
We invite people from other brokerages to, come to our roundtables and have open dialogue with us in order to further our knowledge.
Even some of the agents that fall under us have kind of pushed us to kind of where we're at today.
It was supposed to just be you and I.
It was supposed to be just you and I.
Just Mike and I. And we said, well, okay, we'll get an office space. And we did.
Right.
And then we quickly realized more and more people were coming over. We needed a bigger office space.
And then Katie called us out for not having any social media and all that stuff.
Yeah, we had no social media.
We were showing our age. But so why did we land here in Lee County? I came here Kim and I both grew up in Massachusetts. I was
completely opposite ends of the states.
We didn't know each other before here, but I grew up on just north of Boston. She grew up basically in New York.
Berkshire County, still in Massachusetts.
But what led us to here was I knew nothing about Lee County. I didn't even know it existed until the Red Sox relocated here, and that's kind of what drew me here. I got sick and tired of the snow. I shoveled my last year, and I was like, I am not doing this again.
I mean, you were an EMT and an officer up there, so you battled all those conditions.
In traffic and anger, all of it.
Yeah, lots of anger.
The big dig.
While being the big dig. It's still going on, and we're in 2024.
Yeah, exactly.
While being a civil servant and going through all that. And for me, moving to Lee County was a no-brainer. I looked kind of as our clients do as well. We look all over the state. It's so much. There's so much water all around our state. And I looked on the Fort Lauderdale side. That was too busy for me, coming from a small town of 40,000 people. To go to Fort Lauderdale, way too big. So I came to this side and I said, Okay, what about Tampa? Still a little on the bigger side for me, but not too bad.
Right.
And then I started heading south, and I realized if I get past Sarasota, the subtropic line, I'm not ever going to have to deal with cold weather again. And I say cold weather for us is like 60 degrees now.
Listen, it gets in the low 40s
Yeah,
at
once
nighttime
in a great while.
in the winter. It's cold.
But
Like, you have to bring out. If you're moving down here, don't get rid of your winter clothing. It will come back.
you'll
I'm
need
telling
them.
you.
Not your boots. Keep your boots
Yeah,
at
not
home,
your
but
boots.
you're going to need a jacket. But yeah, the subtropics are south of Sarasota. So to me, it made sense to be somewhere where it was affordable, still have access to the water. For me in Massachusetts, it would take me 3.5 hours to get to any ocean. So I wanted to be somewhere where I could be within a half hour to a beach. So Cape Coral is where I landed. And that ended up being great because I could go north, I could go south, and I was, to a beach in a half hour. Perfect for me.
Right.
Then I ventured over to Fort Myers and then, way out east now.
You are way out east now. Yeah, I started out in Cape Coral, and like you said, coming from, I basically was in Boston every single day. So I didn't want the hustle and bustle anymore. But coming here originally in 2004, it was a culture shock to me. We have experienced a lot of growth in this area. We're definitely to the point where we're not a major city, but we're not a small county either.
Yeah, you still have your international airports. You have great medical. You do have main thoroughways, north and south to get out if you have to.
Yeah.
Because of those unfortunate things we call hurricanes that pop through here once in a while.
And so I didn't have the realization of how significant Boston was and appreciate what it was until I moved away, and then I'd go back and get to do it as a tourist. And when I did that, I tried to take the same approach here. Like, what does Lee County, Southwest Florida, have to offer for people to come and do? And we take it for granted of
We certainly do.
all the things that we have here.
We're kind of a baby now when it comes to heat. We're like, it's a little warm out today.
Yeah, it's above 90. We're not going outside.
Yeah.
It does get hot. Like, it's the reality.
But look at New England. It gets just as hot in New England, too. It used to be you never got over 90 in the summers, and now they're seeing that. But I think you and I both, we realized life here is either you're golfing, and how many golf courses do we have, Michael?
In Lee County's 83.
83 golf courses. The boating, fishing, beaches, shelling, dolphin excursions. I mean, any day I was out on my boat, I would see a dolphin. Like, that is impressive. People pay a lot of money to go on these dolphin tours, in the Caribbean, when right here in Lee County, you can go to any beach area and go off just a little bit and you're going to see dolphins swimming around. Your manatees, all sorts of amazing creatures. I loved my fishing life. Since then, dogs and kids, they kind of changed that. But the inshore and offshore fishing around here is unbelievable. And that's like a whole nother segment we can get into.
For sure.
Because it's world renowned.
And, you talked about kids. Kim and Tyson are newer parents. And people are going to learn our families. And I don't have a problem saying names and stuff like that. I won't say the baby's name because I want to protect her as much as possible. But like for me and my kids coming down here, especially when my son, like when we moved here, he was 10 years old and he was very active in sports. So up north or wherever, you don't get the luxury of playing year round. And here, every single sport gets to play year round. And it just helps with the kids' development and the growth and like personally, physically, mentally,
socially too.
Socially as well. Yeah. So there's, I guess the biggest thing that like people say that we don't have, but I think it's because they don't really know, is like a nightlife in the sense of, if you're comparing it to a Tampa, Miami is
its own beast, like,
right?
That you don't.
But there is a nightlife here. It's just a matter of what it is that you're looking for, and it's there. You just gotta know where to go.
There's not an abundance of nightclubs that are open till 4 a.m. I'll tell you that. It's not that kind of lifestyle. But there is like just our food scene as well. Like we have influences from all over. A lot of Miami is now moving over here, so we're getting a lot of that culture coming over. I think that quite often we could, if we took advantage of it, go to a different restaurant every single week and not be disappointed. I'm kind of a homebody. I don't do that.
Yeah. I'm after doing that many years at the sheriff's office, I'm like you. I kind of like just being home at nighttime. But, we have, what the heck's the name of that? The food truck place.
Backyard Social?
Backyard Social. Yeah. So, that's a newer development concept where it's just a bar and it's wrapped around with food trucks, different food trucks every single day. And it's like a hangout area, which is a really cool concept. And, we do get a lot of tourism down here.
Well, just having Top Golf come in, like you see Top Golfs in big cities and we finally got a Top Golf. I shouldn't say finally, but like lucky enough to have gotten a Top Golf here. And that's a fun thing to do.
Right. The next closest one is like Tampa or something.
Yep. Tampa is the next closest one. So those are major cities that they put those in. And now are we considered going towards a major city? Did they saw the development and the growth that we are going to have. And they said, let's go ahead and put it. You know what we need is a Buc-ee's.
I don't know what Buc-ee's is. Other than the name, I don't know what Buc-ee's is.
Okay, this podcast is over. I'm kidding.
I don't know I've never been to a Buc-ee's. What is a Buc-ee's?
Buc-ee's is like a Costco and a Wawa that had a baby. And it's like
and they named it Bucky.
And they named it Bucky. It's like a gas station travel center that has really good food. It has like all the things you'd ever need. But we have a main thoroughway here that everybody takes from Miami north, Naples, everything. But it does have like clothing and knickknacks and things like that. But it's just inexpensive gas, tons and tons of pumps. It's awesome. I can't believe you don't know what a Buc-ee's is.
No, if I want clothing, I'm going down to like
it's not like
Miramar or something. I'm not.
It's like they have Buc-ee's, like their logos on it and stuff.
I know if I were to see the logo, if like I were in a contest and they put a logo across, I would know
beaver.
the logo.
It's a yellow beaver.
It is a beaver.
It is a beaver. You would know. Think of Costco, how big Costco is, right?
Right.
And then like Wawa, how like they have food and they have like nice clean bathrooms for traveling, and that. We travel a lot, so we know about it.
Okay.
We road trip.
Buc-ee's was not on my top 10 to come here.
No,
probably because I didn't know it existed. But
it didn't exist.
That actually is a really good point and a really good question to ask people. What
come to Lee County?
Yeah, what should come to Lee County?
What do we need that we don't have?
Right. What do we need? And the scary part about Lee County is it's a little over 800 square miles. And you look at Cape Coral, which is one of the largest cities in all of Florida, and it's only a little bit more than half built out. It's like sitting at around 240, 250,000 plus
in
or
Cape
minus
Coral, right?
in Cape Coral itself, which is like 109 square miles itself. But we're just halfway built out.
We have so much more growing to do.
Right. And then so like and there's obviously going to be new things that come here. So what are those things? Yeah.
They'll need it. The infrastructure, the hospitals, everything will continue to grow.
And that's a good point too, right? Like, so you talk about the blue collar, right? Like, because Lee County, I consider pretty much a blue collar city.
For sure.
But the EMS, fire, law enforcement, police or sheriff, and for those of you that don't know the difference, there is a big difference. It's different than up north. Or nurses, right? Like, you can't get enough medical staff. Yeah. Or teachers, for that matter, right? Like, holy cow.
Bus drivers, teachers, you know.
Our school board, our school department, our kids definitely need a lot more teachers. So, these jobs are always, these professions, they're not even jobs. These careers are always open for people to relocate here.
And I know our governor was doing an incentive, and I don't know if he's still doing it for first responders to come down. I think it was fire and police. And I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was offering, I think, a $5,000 sign-on bonus or something to that effect to come down here because we just need the resources. And there's a lot of people that want to move. And we see when Mike and I do our research, it's the Midwest and it's the New Englanders that are coming to our area. And those are the people that, are going to need the jobs down here. And a lot of nurses can sign up right away and be signed on within a month. I mean, Lee Health is one of our biggest employers around here.
Yeah, and they just switched they were a nonprofit, now they're for a profit hospital, but they have they're building a new level 1 trauma center, and they are a level 1 trauma hospital as well. So there is a lot of growth that's happening here. It's just a matter of what then people look at like salaries and wages and in shifting, right? Like from where they're from to coming here financially.
I think you and I, we came from separate ends of the state, but we saw the potential of Lee County, the growth that was yet to come because the infrastructure was here, the towns were here. It just had to develop. And I think it went in waves. Like a lot of people moved down when we did between 2004 and 2006. You talk to a lot of people. Those were the times they moved here. They didn't move down to Naples because Naples was a little too expensive for them. Couldn't afford it. Same thing with Sarasota and Venice. If you head north, a little too expensive. We were the sweet spot with the right demographic, age-wise, income, affordability for housing. That is still holds true to this day. Yes, housing prices have gone up, but they've gone up everywhere the same amount. So we're still the little diamond in the rough, I think, on the Gulf Coast of Florida.
And so like we'll go back to Cape Coral, the sweet spot for the house price right now, and we were just looking at this, I think it was like a week and a half ago, of where almost 75% of all the active listings were between $300,000 and $400,000. So there are some homes that are affordable. Like, if you pay attention to the mainstream media, we're in a housing crisis. And the reality is we're not. Our inventory has gone down every single month from January of 24 to today. So we're not in a housing crisis where prices are being
plummeting,
slashed and we're having foreclosures and short sales and all that stuff. That's just not the reality here.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, people are definitely still moving here. I think, was it 1,000 people a month in Lee County are coming in?
It's between 10 and 12,000 a year that relocate to Lee County.
So, I mean, it's still growing. There are, the oddballs that leave, but, it's still growing rapidly.
And the important thing, not the important, I guess.
We need a fact checker.
Fact checker?
Yeah, like when we have a stat, we need a fact checker.
Oh, just so we can throw it up and be like, confirmed. Almost like a debate, like post-debate, yeah. So, the purpose of this podcast isn't to talk about business, but it's also to give insight about what Lee County is and the reality of what Lee County is. Kim and I are not serious people all the time.
No, this is probably the most serious you're going to get us.
Yeah. Edward's looking at us like, liven it up a little bit. Like, what did I just sign myself up for?
Well, you're in it now.
We're in it.
We just need a name for this podcast. It needs to be something. What do we have so far?
Oh, yeah, we got to give the three names. So these are the three.
Lee County Insider.
Yes.
What was the one that
You don't want the ones I came up with.
No. Lee County.
It's a family show.
It's a family rated show.
It's a family rated
Lee
show.
Lee County, Real Talk, and I don't know the third one.
So Kim and I are the broker owners of Blue Line Realty. And as we told you before, how that came to fruition of merging the
police side,
law enforcement side, first respond. It was when we were working together from 2012 and on, we attracted and we helped a lot of officers and their families get into either buy a home or sell a home to move on to somewhere else. So that's where Blue Line Realty came from for us, was to be able to continue to help first responders and their families.
There's a lot of first responders that are just getting started and they don't have the income to purchase a home right away. With the lenders that we work with, Mike and I have come up with different grants and programs that are out there for them to help them get into a property. The worst thing you can ever do is tell an officer, hey, you can't afford to live in this community that you serve and protect. You have to go elsewhere to live because you can't afford it here. Like that's, a thing we never want to tell anybody. So with these grant programs running simultaneously with, other things that we have going on, we were able to help officers live in the city that they work, and that hits home to us for sure.
And some of them don't want to live where they work, and that's totally understandable as well.
Right.
But that's a whole different thing. But the other part that we saw was these newer officers that were coming on and their family members, they didn't understand the process. And that's where you and I kind of thrive, is teaching and educating and making sure that the from A to Z is taken care of, and where we explain and communicate to them, because obviously there's a level of trust we already got. We're like minded,
right,
with those families.
we understand what their thought process is
Yeah.
as they are driving through a neighborhood, as they're looking
Right.
at their schools. We understand that. I live with an officer, and I understand his concerns, and
Yeah,
we talk about it quite often.
and that's
me.
why you never sit with your.
That
You only get
I sacrifice myself.
Yes, you have to sit with your back to,
to
the door every
so
day.
they can. But those are little things that you don't know if you're not in the family of an officer.
Right.
And I think that just the combination of the two, of our real estate expertise and the love for first responders, was just a no-brainer for us to start this business. It was easy. It was like one phone call, let's do this. And I remember exactly where I was driving home from a vacation, which I do quite often. And I said, yeah, this is what's going to happen. We're going to do this.
Right.
And 2022, that's when it started.
And the ironic part is, a lot of the realtors that work with us have some type of
Tie.
connection to law enforcement or public safety, either themselves or indirectly with a
Their
family
family.
member.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's not a requirement to be with us. It just kind of happened to follow suit.
Well, we came from big corporations, and we saw that we wanted a smaller, intimate family setting.
Yeah.
We had a certain culture that we wanted to keep. As much as Mike and I joke around, we still are striving to motivate our agents and get them to hit their goals, and any help they need. I mean, they can call us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm in bed by like 9, but that's another story. But any time of the day, they were on group text messages just to be able to facilitate any questions they might have. And I don't think that you get that from everybody, but also we don't want to give that to everybody either. Like, we're very specific so that we don't have drama, and we just have a normal, everyday working, fun environment that you get to come to.
We're a recruitment-free zone.
Yeah, we don't do that.
It's select personnel, select people. But so we stuck with the teaching side of it, and now this is year number 2 actually, where we're going to be teaching at South Fort Myers High School to some kids.
Very bright and early.
I'm dragging Kim into it this year as well, but
I think it is good to have a perspective of a male and a female. Like, you're a very big presence. You walk into a room, and
you just call me fat.
I called you bald. No, you have a large presence. You speak authoritatively.
I can't help it. It's
is.
ingrained in me. I don't know.
I think it's a combination of Boston and being a police officer. It is.
I'm a masshole.
Oh yeah, that's true too. As am I, but on the other side. But it's nice to see like a woman's perspective of how it was coming up in real estate at 25 years old. Looking like I was 18.
Right.
And having to battle that. But
so that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, right? It was.
But to be able to teach these kids and get them excited about the potential of their future and have an understanding of it. Like, I just went through it with
your daughter.
With my daughter, with one of my daughters, and at 20 years old to buy her own house.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's huge. It's scary for her.
Yeah.
But a big accomplishment.
Right. And she's still in that. She's fell into the public safety realm as well. But not every kid or every resident or whoever doesn't have the access that they have in us, right? Mm-hmm. So why would we not want to give that out? Why would we not want to give that knowledge out to people?
Yeah. Whenever you can help out and give. I do love to teach. I think it's a lot of fun. I think that nowadays our school systems they have such a hard time making sure that they teach exactly what they need to teach and get it done. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they don't have the time to teach the stuff that we learned in a real life scenario. Right. That maybe one little glimpse of like what we do can give them the idea. Maybe, hey, this is the route I want to go. Maybe not real estate, but maybe I want to own my own business. Maybe there's something, because you're not just a realtor. You're a business owner,
psychologist,
but you own other businesses as well.
Right.
So it's not just real estate. There's so many more things than just working for someone else, and that's, I think, what we try to.
It's a really good motivator when you're responsible for other people's daily lives. It's like a good
get up and get out of bed.
Yeah, it's a good adrenaline shot. Like, you don't get to be lazy. These people are depending on you. And that's kind of like the same mindset we take to our community and the people that we want to help. Like, these people are depending on us to be able to do our job and do it really, really well and make their lives not stressful.
Yeah. Every transaction we do, we try to make it as if it was either our family or us going through it. Like, I'm going to guide you. I don't want you to worry about anything. The lending side of it, yeah, that's going to be a pain in the butt. We can't really help anything about that because I can't hand over your financials for you. Right. But everything else we are going to make as simple as possible. It's I can equate it to the wedding planning, right? Being a wedding.
We'll bring a wedding planner in here too.
Yeah, we'll have a wedding plan. But a wedding planner, right? Like all the other things that went on, like the engagement, proposal, all that stuff, is one thing. And then you have your wedding and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do all this? Well, that's why you hire a professional and that's why you hire someone to take care of you on that day and the time leading up to. Same thing.
Right.
You hire us to make sure that you don't make a mistake and make the best fit and make it as stress-free as possible.
And I think, unfortunately, in today's day and age with social media and YouTube and mainstream media, they downplay the role of a professional realtor. Like there's realtors, and then there's people that hold a license.
People that hold a real estate license.
Right? Like they're not on the same playing field.
I think one way to just figure out if you're ever talking to a realtor and you ask them, hey, how's the market doing? Mike's famous question to people, hey, how's the market doing? They're like, good. We're like, ha, that's cute.
It's not.
Okay, how much do you have? What's the inventory? What's this? So, like, if they just give you that ballpark answer of, oh, we're doing great, or, oh, it's not a great time. Okay, well, that's not your realtor. You need to find somebody who is in the thralls of the real estate data and market.
Right. And it'd be like going to a doctor and asking what this medication is for. And they're like, I don't know, pain? Yeah, well, that's a great...
Let me Google it.
Let me Google it, right? Like, that's the reality of it. Or a nurse, right? Like, you go in there for the expertise. And I take that serious. And, like, I'm very much a numbers guy. Kim gets really mad at me.
He's a numbers man.
Like
we have to
Rain Man at times.
Rein him in, Rain Man.
She gets mad at me for going off on these little tangents.
I don't get mad.
No.
I get even.
I get time limits. Like you give your children on cell phones for apps, I get a screen limit time for pulling numbers.
It's checks and balances, right? Like we need it to make sense to everybody, not just the person that can, do a fraction in their head very quickly. We need the public, our agents, myself, to understand, what it is that you're trying to convey to everybody.
I just automatically think because my brain processed it, everyone else's brain can process it, and that's not the reality. Yeah. But when you're talking to people and agents or realtors that are professionals, they can tell you the data and they can back up their stats with numbers and break it really down for you, and then you're going to know that you're dealing with a professional realtor.
Mm-hmm. I think that wraps it up. We're pretty much done here. Anything else? No?
Take them out.
All right. Well, this is the end of our first ever episode of, we don't have the name, so you have to help us come up with the name. So 3 things. Help us come up with a name. Do you want a second episode of this podcast? And 3, are there any topics that you want us to touch upon? It can be real estate related, non-real estate related, Lee County, what's happening, anything.
We're open.
Yeah, let us know if there's anything you want us to chat about. If you're in Lee County and you're interested in coming on the podcast, send us a message.